Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ronnie Stockholm, and welcome once again to NWC Tonight, your home for the hottest wrestling action to be found anywhere online. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an exciting show for you here today, and we're going to get right down to it. In our main event, this has been a long time coming, folks. We're going to be seeing the reigning PWA Light Heavyweight Champion Derek Arzon defending his title against Chris Knight, the man who earned his opportunity to become the #1 contender just a couple of months ago at NWC Full Effect. Now, folks, this is going to be an exciting encounter for a number of reasons. Not only is it always exciting to see our light heavyweights in action, currently Derek Arzon is representing the INCW with the INCW Openweight Championship and PWA with the PWA Light Heavyweight Championship. This will be the last time that those two titles are defended under the NWC banner as it currently stands, for it has been decided by the Championship Committee that the winner of tonight's bout will be crowned the first ever NWC Light Heavyweight Champion. It's the dawn of a new era here at the National Wrestling Council, and we are excited to be here for it. In addition to that exciting match, we will be seeing a grudge match between Mil Mojitos and Tiger Jade as these two go at it once again, this time in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Speaking of grudge matches, we will be seeing this evening the escalation of the growing feud between the Blueprint Spencer Watts and the Diners Club's Chonk, as these two square off in their first singles match of the new season. Last week, Chonk and Spencer Watts went at it in a backstage brawl. We'll see what these two can do in the confines of an NWC ring. We'll also be seeing the Sin twins, Evelyn and Oliver Sin, taking on the Spoiler 3 and Nikki Wilde of Forever Unchained as these two factions continue their aggression. Also on tap for this evening, the undefeated Victoria Prime testing her mettle against Alyssa Wilde, Jasmine Blade taking on Selena Sharp, and a couple of very exciting singles debuts as the stars of Bayou Pro Wrestling make their NWC presence felt. Folks, it's going to be an absolutely spectacular show. Plenty of action, bell to bell, as the National Wrestling Council and NWC Tonight resume normal operations after a little bit of a break at the beginning of the new year. Thank you so much for the fans who've stuck with us, and we hope we will honor your dedication with some exciting wrestling action here tonight. And as we head to ringside, I want to remind our fans that this is an interactive experience, so if there are stars of NWC who you would like to see in matches, please make your presence known on our forum page. Thank you again for all of your participation, and let's take you to ringside. What an opening bout we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be seeing in singles competition Paul Hook Gravitt taking on Axel Funkt. Now, of course, Paul Gravitt has been a standout here in NWC since the beginning of our organization, debuting originally in INCW. He went all the way on in NWC to challenge Damian Black at Full Effect for the World Championship. The man standing across from him, Axel Funkt, is the current reigning defending BPW Men's Champion. An absolutely eclectic and unusual individual who I am sure will make tremendous waves now that he's moved over to NWC. Of course, Paul Gravitt, a man that needs no introduction, a tremendous in-ring technical competitor, no frills, all fists, as they say. This man has really made some waves here in NWC since his debut. Garnered quite a grassroots fan following for his hard-hitting, pound and ground, no-nonsense style. He is a master of submissions, and in many ways the antithesis of everything that Axel Funkt has come to represent in BPW. Now, of course, a lot of our fans may not be aware of Bayou Pro Wrestling and its history, but some would call it a hardcore organization. Some would call it an extreme organization. However you label it, it is definitely a federation comprised of extremely tough individuals who are willing to put their bodies through hell in order to entertain the fans at home, and Axel Funkt is absolutely among that group. This strange and eclectic wild man has really turned some heads in BPW and beyond. You can see he's a bit of a throwback, a bit of a loud individual. Looks like he may have stepped out of the loudest version of 1980s pro wrestling that you think you remember. But he is a flamboyant individual. He is an exciting individual. He's willing to do just about anything that it takes in order to secure a victory. And if that means bending and breaking the rules, he's all too happy to do it. You can see there he's brandishing that shiny BPW Men's Championship. That is not the only men's championship in BPW, but the history of the full BPW championship is more than we can say right here and right now, but I'm sure we'll be seeing additional representatives from that storied organization as our weeks continue. Just know that this man here, Axel Funkt, is a representative from this hard-hitting extreme organization, and Paul Gravitt is going to need to do everything he can to take out this unusual individual. Referee has rung the bell, and we are underway. Immediately, Gravitt going in with some solid kicks and punches, and a shoulder breaker or a neck breaker, a very, very interesting variation on that maneuver, takes Axel Funkt down. But Funkt kicking Gravitt away and immediately going at it with right hands. Nothing pretty about that. Funkt showing that when push comes to shove, he is ready to beat some respect into his competition. He is the absolute opposite of the classically trained mat technician. Coming off the ropes, going for a flying kick, misses his mark though, and you can't afford to miss too many maneuvers with Paul Gravitt. Gravitt will tie you in knots faster than you can realize. And look at that, outside the ring, a double arm suplex. I think that Funkt may have clipped the edge of those steps there. Belly to belly suplex follows up. Gravitt is, and look at that, ribs straight into those solid steel steps. Welcome to NWC, Axel Funkt. Paul Gravitt looking to send a message that despite the hardcore extreme reputation of Bayou Pro Wrestling, Paul Gravitt will not leave the fans wanting for violence. He has learned quite a bit about the pro wrestling game since his transition a couple of seasons ago from amateur wrestling. And look at that, a very unique double-arm DDT takes Gravitt down, but Gravitt not allowing Funkt to push his advantage. And look at that, daring Funkt to come and meet him on his feet in that squared circle. Gravitt, of course, most at home in the confines of that ring when he can make full use of his submission-based offense. But Funkt, another animal altogether, a horse of a different color, most comfortable when he can throw the rulebook out the window. He will gladly brawl right into that crowd, and look at that! Paul Gravitt would be wise to keep things in the ring, because the second that takes it down to the floor, Funkt is absolutely able to take full advantage of all of the hardware outside this ring. Gravitt seems to have his bell rung a little bit by that amazing plancha, and look at this. Funkt has Gravitt up and just drops him stomach and face first on the mat on that very thinly covered concrete floor. And Gravitt sent back into the ring looking the worse for wear. Remember, folks, Funkt is a champion, and while BPW may not be as well known to the fans of NWC as the likes of PWA or INCW, it is certainly a place where the big boys play. The roster of BPW is a very diverse and dangerous group that you're going to get a chance to meet in greater detail over the coming days and weeks. Funkt sends Gravitt to the ropes, ducks underneath, And a big hip toss takes the considerable-sized Paul Gravett down. Gravett is not a small man, but looking at him next to Funked, it looks like he's giving up perhaps 20 to 30 pounds and a couple inches in height. Funked is a large and in-charge individual. The two competitors meeting outside, but Gravett wisely throwing Funked back into the ring, wants to keep it on the mat. And once again, Gravett dropped stomach first onto that canvas. And look at this. What is Funk doing? Ripcord clothesline, goes for a pin. And Gravett manages to get a shoulder up after a solid 2 count. Axel Funk is an extremely powerful and explosive competitor. Gravett cannot afford to absorb too much damage from this very strong man. But look at this double arm, hook, suplex into a pin, floats over beautifully. Funk, though, does get a shoulder up. Still a lot of fight left in the BPW Men's Champion. Oh, would you look at that? A series of very unique punches end up putting Gravett right in the corner, but Gravett fighting his way out again. But Funk not letting him push any sort of advantage, using his elbows right to the eyes of Gravett, and has Gravett up for a throwing Beal-like suplex, and once again Gravett is going to take to the floor to try to regroup a little bit. This time, Funk giving him a moment to do so, but look at this! Following up, tries again for another suicide plancha, but this time Gravett has him scouted. Folks, I think Gravett went outside intentionally to bait Funk into taking another dive. And look at that, Gravett now taking full advantage. Big-time forearms to the jaw as Funk's world has been rocked in more ways than one. Gravett has Funked up and big-time body slam outside the ring. One thing about Gravett, he's shown to be extremely adaptable. While this is a man who has based a lot of his career on... Oh my goodness! Oh no! Big double arm hook sit-out pile driver outside the ring by Axel Funk, and then Gravett sent into the barricade. Folks, Gravett is extremely adaptable. He's willing to take the fight to his opponent any way his opponent wants, but oh my goodness, what a tremendous maneuver. Gravett is hurt, folks. This could be it. He just had his skull bounced off of that concrete outside. That matting out there, folks, is only about a quarter-inch thick. Gravett managing to beat the count, though. Sent into the corner. I don't know, folks. He might be seeing stars here. Gravett... Oh, folks, that looked like a low blow there from Paul Gravett. I'm going to assume that was unintentional based upon the what may be a concussion there. But Axel Funk just got kicked in the twig and berries. And it looks like it might have woken him up. That's just the way they say hello down in BPW. Funk with a series of clotheslines. Following Gravett in. And just a kick to the belly there. And just stomping on Gravett in the corner. I think he might have been a little bit offended by that. It sure looked like a low blow, folks. No doubt unintentional. Gravett is an absolutely upstanding competitor, but a kick to the Jimmy's a kick to the Jimmy. Once again, a series of kicks in the corner. Funk taking over with his power. It's not often you see Paul Gravett on the defense quite as much as he's been in this match. But that is not to say that Gravett is in trouble. He is a master technician, and look at that. Blocking a punch, following it up with a chop. Oh, goes for some sort of a fireman's carry, but Funk manages to elbow his way out of it. But Gravett not letting him get anything out of it. And look at that, folks! Gravett's got him in the half crab. That half crab is a specialty of his. He's finished many a man if he can just manage to sit down. But Funk is holding that leg stiff. He is preventing Gravett from putting all of his weight down on top of him. And he picks a foot and manages to force a break. Funk with a hard series of punches to the midsection. Nothing fancy, nothing pretty about that. That is not wrestling, that is fighting, ladies and gentlemen. And he is taking it to Paul Gravett in the corner. Funk with a beautiful Russian leg sweep. And Gravett once again in trouble. Outside the ring again, trying to figure out a way to navigate past this very strange and unusual, but extremely powerful competitor. Oh, would you look at that? Funk just drops him throat first across the top rope. 1, 2, and 3. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, Funk used that lever, used that top rope, just dropped Gravett throat first straight across it. It was enough to put him out of sorts and get a pinfall. I have to think there was still some fight left in Paul Gravett there, and you have to figure that he's going to want a piece of Axel Funk down the road. But still, what an amazing match from both of these men, and a very impressive debut from the Bayou Pro Wrestling men's champion, Axel Funk. We look forward to big things from this man in the future here in NWC. No doubt Paul Gravett's going to want another piece of that man somewhere down the road. And now we move from our men's division to our extremely competitive women's division. Of course, these two women need no introduction. Jasmine Blade has been an absolute standout in every organization that she's been a part of, really made a name for herself in INCW, coming very, very close to winning that company's top women's championship on a number of occasions. Had some tremendous matches with a who's who of top shelf competitors. Has been a little bit on a bit of a losing streak since joining NWC. That is not to say that she hasn't been extremely competitive, but the NWC women's division has been absolutely on fire. And the last thing that Jasmine Blade wants is to be considered as someone who is lost in the shuffle. You know that she has a lot on her mind and a huge desire to really show what she can do. In fact, Jasmine has had a couple of very interesting words for another one of our up-and-coming female competitors. The promo board, she has had some words with Victoria Prime, taking a bit of umbrage to Victoria Prime's patriotism, you could call it, her British pride. Jasmine Blade, of course, a proud American, and I believe that those two will be going at each other at some point in the near future. We'd certainly love to see that matchup. And tonight, of course, she'll be facing Selena Sharp, the daughter of Wyatt 5 O'Clock Sharp of PWA fame. Selena Sharp has had a tremendous season here in NWC. Last season, she was able to take Nikki Wilde to her limit in a championship match. She came very close to winning the INCW Women's Championship and really made a name for herself here in this company in a very short amount of time. No doubt both of these women have what it takes to earn a title shot. We look forward to seeing what they can do tonight in the ring. Heading down the aisle, first we have Jasmine Blade, who again has had a tremendous career in INCW and NWC. You can see people pegged her as a blue chipper from the very beginning, as someone to watch, as a extremely powerful competitor. Just somebody who has command of all of the tools to be a huge star in this company or any other she sees herself a part of. And again, as we mentioned, he had some choice words for the peerless one, the undefeated Victoria Prime, who in her arrogance has really been claiming the women's division as her own. We'll see what happens when these two meet up in the ring eventually. But before that, Jasmine Blade has to focus all of her attention on Selena Sharp. Now, Selena Sharp, for her size, is an extremely fast and agile competitor, has really made a name for herself every time that she has set foot in the ring. Her finisher, the Razor Sharp, can hit out of nowhere, and it has taken out many competitors, including former INCW Women's Champion Nikki Wilde. Just a blindingly quick 1-2-3 victory, an unexpected win over the champion, put her name immediately into championship contention, and she was a thorn in Nikki Wilde's side all season long. While she never did win that championship, she certainly cemented herself in the hearts and minds of the NWC Nation. It'll be interesting to see what she can do against tenured veteran Jasmine Blade in tonight's competition. Both of these women would, of course, be excellent challengers for the Siberian cyborg Anna Sokolov, who is, of course, always scouting out her next victim. Jasmine Blade looking to be in tremendous shape, absolutely top-notch physical condition, and immediately goes running at Selena Sharp, but gets backdropped out of her boots. You cannot sleep on the talent and sudden agility and speed of Selena Sharp. She is quicker than she looks, ladies and gentlemen. And would you look at that, a spinning kick right to the midsection of Jasmine Blade. Of course, Blade, a tremendous physical specimen. It is very difficult to beat Jasmine Blade in an athletic contest. She is strong, she is fast, she is agile, she is a top-notch super athlete in every sense of the words, cut like a diamond, but at the same time, prone occasionally to frustration in the ring. If Selena Sharp can take advantage of that, if she can throw Jasmine off her game, make her angry, then Sharp is going to have an advantage here. Would you look at that? Huge release powerbomb by Jasmine Blade. Goes for the pin. Selena Sharp out at 2. Jasmine coming in hot and angry. Look at this already. Stomping on Sharp. You can sort of see that temper coming into play here. That has betrayed Jasmine in the past as she has allowed her opponents to get in her head. But Jasmine now trying to slow things down, trying to work things at her own pace, working on the legs of Selena Sharp. The two competitors take it to the outside, and oh my goodness, would you look at that? Going for a second powerbomb, but Sharp isn't letting it happen. Good thing, too. That would have been devastating out there outside that ring. Oh, Sharp talking some trash, though, and a double foot drop kick straight to the small of the back outside that ring, and a big haymaker punch. Well, going for the leg, though, but Jasmine able to cut that momentum off and put a knee right to the side of Sharp. Sends Sharp toward the announce table and follows up with a flying clothesline. Goodness me, big-time elbow drop by Jasmine Blade as well. Would you look at that? Just measuring Selena Sharp and just attacking her with hard knees and shins there. Oh, and look at that. Blade heading back into the ring, very mindful of that referee's count as Selena Sharp shakes off the cobwebs. Manages to get back in the ring, too, beating that count. Big flying crossbody off the middle rope onto Jasmine Blade. And look at that, Sharp showing off that shocking agility she possesses. Big forearm takes Blade down as well. It looks like Selena Sharp is starting to pull ahead here a little bit with a dedicated offense, focusing on each and every body part of Jasmine Blade. Stomping at her and talking that trash, really trying to take Jasmine out of her game. Again, it's an excellent strategy by this relative rookie here. Jasmine with a hard elbow, though. And has Sharp sends her to the ropes, and a big elbow takes her down. Jasmine is at her best when she's able to rely on her sharp, sudden bursts of power. Selena, though, managing to try to maintain that advantage she has slowly built over the course of this match. Ducks underneath Jasmine, and a big-time backdrop, and immediately follows up with a series of elbows right to the trapezius muscles. Gonna knot up those traps. And Sharp has her up, and drops her stomach first, right in the center of the ring, setting her up. What's she going to do? Sharp on the top rope. Big frog splash, but misses entirely. She has been stunned there. And what's going on here? Jasmine Blade has her by the arms and just face buster right into the center of the ring. She has finished many an opponent with that, folks. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that, a decisive and efficient victory by Jasmine Blade here on tonight's edition of NWC Tonight. Jasmine Blade has had words with Victoria Prime. This victory over Selena Sharp may put those two on a collision course sooner rather than later. And that should be a tremendous match when that occurs. Nothing against Selena Sharp, tremendous effort by her, but tonight you could see it was Jasmine Blade ready to make a statement here in NWC and remind the world of just who she is and what she can do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to some exciting mixed tag team action. We're going to be seeing the Spoiler 3 and Nikki Wilde taking on Oliver and Evelyn Sin, the Sin Twins, as Forever Unchained and Sanctum continue their seasons-long blood feud. Folks, these two factions have been at each other's throats for quite some time. They have fought in singles matches and tag team matches. We're going to see tonight them fight in mixed tag team action. Of course, this is apropos because just last week we saw the mixed tag division get kicked up a notch when Danica Raven and Chris Knight defeated Reckless Love to become the new mixed gender PWA tag team champions. Of course, we've got a lot of men and women duos here in this organization, and it will be very interesting to see who steps up as a challenger to the newly crowned champions. Of course, both the Sin Twins and members of Forever Unchained would be excellent competitors, excellent challengers to that crown. So we shall have to see which of these teams is able to step it up tonight. Now, Nikki Wilde is going to be an interesting wild card here in this match. As you can see here, she is not dressed in her normal white rabbit attire. Nikki has been the victim of somebody. Some have speculated that it's Evelyn Sin herself. Somebody has stolen Nikki Wilde's gear and is determined to make sure that she appears in every show that she fights in out of sorts, not able to use the mind games that she has relied upon in her White Rabbit persona. So Nikki Wilde is angry, she is upset, and it has been a deciding factor in some of the matches she has been in lately. We'll have to see if that is a factor in tonight's encounter. Now, heading down to the ring, you have the Spoiler and Nikki Wilde. Of course, the Spoiler, a tremendously dangerous competitor. You see him wearing his hard-won PWA Heavyweight Championship, in much the same way that Derek Arzon is our current reigning Light Heavyweight Champion. The Spoiler has the only belt in NWC which is relegated to the heavyweight division only. It was won in the Prestige Wrestling Association, and it has been carried from that organization to the National Wrestling Council and is recognized as a title here that can be fought over in an NWC ring. We will have to see what competitors step up to try to challenge for that prestigious gold as the season progresses. Of course, Forever Unchained looking very confident, looking like they're in full charge here, but we have seen, based on some of their backstage interactions, that all may not be well in this faction of miscreants. Certainly the mind games of Sanctum have gotten to them, have gotten to Nikki Wilde, certainly, and we'll have to see what happens this evening as they face off against the dangerous and hard-to-predict Sin Twins. Of course, Oliver has recently shown himself to be a tremendous competitor in the light heavyweight division. Earlier on this season, Oliver Sin had a standout match against Chris Catch Knight. Now, Knight, of course, is the number one contender to the PWA Light Heavyweight Championship. However, earlier on this season, Oliver Sin defeated Chris Knight in controversial fashion, but in one-on-one competition. And thanks to the success that he has seen against Knight and others, it has been decided by the championship committee that Oliver is next in line. He has earned himself, I guess you could call him the number 2 contender for the Light Heavyweight Championship. Whoever wins in the eventual match this evening between Derek Arzon and Chris Knight will be seeing Oliver Sin in one-on-one competition at some point in the future. But before that, of course, the Sin Twins have quite a job ahead of them trying to take on Nikki Wilde and the Spoiler of Forever Unchained. Referee rings the bell and we are underway. Nikki Wilde quickly showing her speed and agility, coming off the ropes with a drop kick. and just boxing the ears there of Evelyn Sin, and following up with a huge knee shiver. Nikki is showing that even though she is not the White Rabbit at present, she still contains a lot of the spunk, energy, and intensity that made her such a champion here in INCW and NWC. Evelyn Sin, though, just crazy as a bedbug, as they say, really taking it to Nikki Wilde. Sends Nikki off to the corner, has her in, and just slams her face first into that top turnbuckle. Once and again for good measure as her brother, Oliver, watches on. Oh, but would you look at that Meteora in the corner by Nikki Wilde, and just walks over Evelyn Sin disrespectfully. Goes for a drop kick, but gets it stuffed by Sin. Series of elbows, though, show that Nikki's got a lot of fight in her. And Nikki with a big headbutt drags her up. Second headbutt. And a third jumping headbutt, and goes for a pin on Evelyn Sin. Evelyn, though, with a quick kick out. Of course, the gear that Nikki Wilde is wearing is some old Wild Academy training gear. Certainly the last thing that Nikki Wilde wants to be associated with right now. But as it turns out, every time she brings any other gear to the arena, due to some strange circumstance, it ends up going missing. So somebody out there is determined to not let Nikki put on the persona that she saw so much success with. Spoiler, look at this, has Oliver by the back of the head and just hammers him down right into the sternum, that huge meaty ham hock. And Spoiler, using his power, using his strength, sends Oliver to the far corner, and a big chop takes Sin down. If there's one advantage that Team FU has here tonight, it is the strength of the Spoiler. There is no one on the side of Sanctum, especially the Sin twins, that can match the Spoiler for sheer power. But you don't always need power when you have the precision skills of Oliver Sin, and that is not to say he's not a powerful individual. He's extremely strong, pound for pound, one of the strongest competitors here in NWC. But the strength, the size, the muscle that Spoiler brings to this ring is awe-inspiring. Spoiler sends Sin to the ropes. Big power slam right in the center of the ring, taking all the wind, driving all the air out of Oliver Sin. And just hammers Sin in the back of the head. This is not a matchup within Sin's weight class. Oliver Sin is a light heavyweight. Spoiler is a heavyweight through and through. Spoiler, though, tagging out to Nikki, and of course, by the nature of this match, that means that Evelyn is automatically in. Big Nikki kick, the bunny kick they used to be called, gets a 2 count on Evelyn Sin. Nikki dragging Evelyn to the corner, making sure to maintain control in the Forever Unchained corner. Sets Evelyn Sin up on the top rope. What's she going to do? Oh, eats a kick right to the forearm. But Nikki manages to get caught with a big forearm to the jaw. Amateur style takedown by Evelyn Sin. Evelyn doing her best to maintain control. Sends Nikki to the corner. And just starts going to work with a series of elbows, forearms, feet. Pulls Nikki back to her feet. And what's she going to do here, folks? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, is that Calamity? Big time Calamity right in the corner there. Goes for a pin. 1, 2, and 3. Ladies and gentlemen, what an impressive win there. My goodness, I thought that we had a lot of this match left to go. Evelyn Sin just stomping a mud hole and walking it dry on Nikki Wilde, and then just drops her face first with Calamity, and that is all that she wrote. Wow, what a decisive win for the Sin twins. Of course, Sanctum has to be happy with that. I would also say that perhaps Chris Knight and Danica Rabin should be taking a look at these two. There are fewer there are not a lot of intergender duos in NWC who are more in sync than these two. And now, folks, we turn to a very interesting debut match as Richard Pennyworth III will be taking on Figaro. And Figaro is a member of the Carnival, a deadly and very unique faction in Bayou Pro Wrestling. We saw a couple of members of the Carnival make their debuts last week, or a couple of weeks ago, in the NWC Women's Make Your Mark Battle Royal, and now Figaro has come to join them. He may look like a jolly clown, but I assure you that his demeanor and his actions in the ring are very, very different than that. Anyone who steps in the ring with Figaro is in for a long and very deadly night, let me tell you. Now, Richard Pennyworth III is in a unique position where this is a must-win situation for him. He has yet to earn a victory since making his re-debut in NWC. He came closer than ever last week when he managed to take the NWC World Champion Damian Black to a controversial double count-out. But he still has yet to earn a victory, a pinfall or submission victory, since coming back from an extended hiatus. Will tonight be the night? Certainly he has the ability to take on and defeat this man. Richard Pennyworth, of course, is a former world champion in multiple organizations. He is a classically trained wrestler with a tremendous amateur background. The only thing that has held this modern-day self-made man up is his lack of focus. He is, of course, the owner of a Fortune 500 company with assets and interests across the globe, and that has caused him to, at times, have to step away from the squared circle. And, of course, there has been a lot of changes in the landscape of pro wrestling in the last few years. Things are different than they were back when Richard Pennyworth was a heavyweight championship contender. And he has found that out the hard way. But of course, he has the best training that money can buy, and Richard Pennyworth is determined to get back to his winning ways. In order to do that tonight, he's going to have to take on a very intimidating individual. Now, you might look at that thumbnail and see a jolly, happy clown, but the reality is something else entirely. Figaro is a very disturbed individual who I would not trust at any children's birthday party. Look at that, Figaro coming down to the ring with, is that a pair of cutting shears? The mind games happening early here as I don't know if that's some sort of a promise of violence yet to come. But look at that. That is a disturbing sight, ladies and gentlemen. That is an extremely off-putting visage here, as Figaro, with a smile on his face, marches around that ring, and Richard Pennyworth standing outside the ring. That look on his face, folks, he looks like he is beside himself as he isn't quite sure what to make of this strange and unusual display. Pennyworth, though, determined to win this match, determined to have a good showing, immediately takes it to Figaro. Look at that, right out the gate, big-time capture suplex on the eclectic clown. But Figaro, with a huge drop kick, takes Pennyworth down. Pennyworth managed to swat away an attempted elbow. Figaro, though, not letting Pennyworth take the advantage, comes into the corner, monkey flip, sends Pennyworth across the ring. And Figaro following up with oh, look at that, just rubbing Richard Pennyworth's face right into that mat. And goes for another dropkick, but Pennyworth swats him away, comes back with a forearm. I'm telling you, folks, you cannot sleep on the ability of Richard Pennyworth. And remember, the entirety of his NWC career was what he put into the #1 Contenders Championship tournament, which immediately threw him into the deep water against 7 of the top competitors in all of NWC. A tall order for any contender, but for someone who'd been away from the ring for 5 years, it turned out to be insurmountable. That does not mean that Richard Pennyworth isn't an incredibly talented and skilled competitor. He is top shelf, upper echelon any way you slice it. But the fact is that the different organizations represented by the NWC represent not just the best of the best, but the best of the best of the best. The top competitors from multiple organizations around the world. The game has evolved, and Richard Pennyworth needs to evolve with it. But how can you evolve when you're standing across the ring from such a strange and unusual character in Figaro? Pennyworth, though, doing an excellent job holding his own, trying to control the space, keeping it in the ring where he can take advantage of his dedicated submission game. Of course, his finisher, the cash advance, a tremendous head and arm lock, has gotten him a lot of victories in a previous life. Big time elbow, goes for a pin immediately. Solid 2 count. Figaro kicks out. Pennyworth with a go behind and a forearm right to the kidneys. Following it up with a textbook, picture-perfect Russian leg sweep. Richard Pennyworth playing the mind games himself, letting Figaro know that he is in control of the situation. Look at that. Elbow followed by a bulldog right into the center of the ring. Pennyworth looking like his old self more at this moment than he has at almost any point in his NWC career. Could this be the turning point for the Fortune 500 man of $1 million, as they say? Oh, would you look at that? Gets out of the way. Figaro going double knees straight into that top turnbuckle. Pennyworth, though, doing everything he can to maintain that narrow advantage that he's built. Figaro with 2 feet up, and would you look at that? Figaro's not wearing any boots at all. Not quite sure what that's about. Pennyworth, spun around. Very interesting leverage maneuver by Figaro there. And he is stalking Richard Pennyworth. What is he going to do? Figaro's got him from behind. And, oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, that right there, that's actually Richard Pennyworth's cash advance. Folks, Figaro has stolen the finisher of Richard Pennyworth and is really cranking it in. Talk about mind games. Goodness me. Wow. Richard Pennyworth manages to get to fight his way out, but you've got to think that's going to rattle him. Seeing his own finisher used against him so efficiently right in the middle of the ring. It seems to have lit a fire under Pennyworth, though. Pennyworth going after those limbs, stomping on the arm of Figaro, who is he laughing? Is Figaro laying there laughing on the mat? My goodness, what an absolutely disturbed individual this Figaro appears to be. With beautiful drop kick. Richard Pennyworth with one of the best drop kicks in the business. Sends Figaro to the outside. But Figaro immediately taking command outside the ring should not be a surprise to fans of Bayou Wrestling. Bayou Pro Wrestling is an extreme league, and all of its competitors are well versed in using all of the hardware in and around a ring to their advantage. And look at that. Figaro with a huge elbow drop hits absolutely nothing, and he pops straight up from it. Pennyworth, though, manages a chop block on the left knee of Figaro. And he sends Figaro into the aisle. And it looks as if Figaro's knee may be in trouble. Pennyworth daring him to stand. Figaro, a man on one leg, fighting his way out. But Pennyworth with a German release suplex on the concrete. Oh, man. And Pennyworth, knowing that he needs that win inside the ring, drawing Figaro back into the ring, but Figaro taking control, sends Pennyworth to the corner, puts him up on the top turnbuckle, but Pennyworth fights his way out. Is Richard Pennyworth going to win this thing? Look at that! Another beautiful release German suplex. The technical mastery of Richard Pennyworth may be too much for the street style of Figaro. But Figaro, with a bulldog, takes Pennyworth down. At this point, it's a pick'em, folks. These two are both in this thing neck deep. Figaro goes for Pennyworth in the corner, but Pennyworth able to reverse it, sends him into the corner, delivers a huge bulldog right into the middle of the ring. Goes for a senton, drops all of the weight of that elbow and shoulder onto the chest and face of Figaro. Picks the leg and has him in an ankle lock on the mat, really torquing and twisting that ankle of Figaro underneath his arm there. Referee checking in. Is Figaro going to be forced to tap out? My God, is he laughing still? Figaro, as he struggles, is laughing like a madman. I do not know what to make of this very disturbed individual. And look at that big-time belly-to-belly suplex right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, and 3. Full body weight, belly-to-belly whoopee cushion suplex right in the middle of the ring. And your winner in his debut match, the insane clown Figaro, representing Bayou Pro Wrestling's Carnival. And Richard Pennyworth's luck continues. He fought his hardest, but this absolutely bizarre individual has managed to best him on this night. Wow, what a chilling change in demeanor there. Would you look at that? And ladies and gentlemen, from one disturbed individual to another, we now present Tiger Jade. Folks, Tiger Jade has been on a path of self-destruction ever since he lost his beloved golden tiger mask. After putting on the Jade Tiger mask, he has had a tremendous attitude change that has resulted in him being alienated by friends and family alike. He has committed some sinister acts, some atrocities to those that he used to consider friends. And his good friend, former friend, I should say, Mil Mojitos, has had enough. Mil Mojitos did not want to fight his mentor, Tiger Jade, but after the actions at full effect, it was a bridge too far, and Mojito said he can no longer stand by. Now, last week, Tiger Jade hurt Mil Mojitos. He defeated him in one-on-one competition and left him battered and bruised, but Mojitos refuses to say die. He is here once again to fight for his honor and for the reputation and legacy of Tiger Jade. Tonight, in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Now, a Falls Count Anywhere match means that this will not be confined to the ring. It means that Tiger Jade can use chairs, he can use tables, he can use the ringside barricade and steps to brutalize his former friend, Mil Mojitos. And Mojitos is an honorable individual, but you have to think that his rationale for taking on Tiger Jade in a match like this is that the outside ring area may serve as a desperately needed equalizer to cancel out the power advantage that Tiger Jade brings to the ring. Mil Mojitos will need every advantage that he can get, because while Mojitos is an extremely talented luchador, Tiger Jade is in possession of inhuman strength ever since putting on that Jade Tiger mask. He does not appear to feel pain. He appears to be able to walk through fire. He is a deadly and dangerous individual, and Mojitos is going to need every ounce of his resolve to try to stop him. And stop him he must, because Tiger Jade is rapidly sullying a reputation built on decades of goodwill from his fans with the heinous acts that he's allowed himself to be a part of. Mil Mojitos wants nothing more than to see Tiger Jade return to his roots, to remember who he was, and to restore his honor through combat. Can Mojitos do it? Can he bring his mentor and friend back? Or will this match mark the end of their struggle and see Mojitos left battered and broken in this deadly Falls Count Anywhere encounter? Both competitors ready. Referee rings the bell, and we are underway, and immediately Tiger Jade, using that fabled agility, Hurricane Rana into a series of deadly punches into the face and shoulders of Mil Mojitos. And a second time, a release Hurricane Rana this time. Mojitos, though, manages a flying kick from the middle rope, and a suplex into a knee, followed by a series of left hands. Mil Mojitos is not here to play. He is not here to have an athletic competition. He is here to beat some sense into his friend and mentor, Tiger Jade. Mojitos taking it to Jade. Big punch sends the masked man down, and Tiger Jade heading to the outside, trying to put some distance between him and his enraged former student. Mojitos with a flying inverted senton, but Jade able to dive out of the way of it. And using that weight advantage, heaves up Mojitos and smashes him back first on the barricade outside the ring. And just tosses Mojitos 10 feet away, using his massive muscles, using the tremendous strength imbued upon him by the mystical Jade Tiger mask. The referee, of course, not counting out here, not counting to 10. These two can fight out here till the cows come home. This is a Falls Count Anywhere match. Mojitos goes for a pin on the floor. One! Only a 1 count, though. A lot of fight left in Tiger Jade. Mojitos with a vicious clothesline takes Jade to the ground, and he is feeling the fury, feeling the pent-up anger and aggression from weeks upon weeks of seeing his friend self-destruct. Of course, this is the way of lucha libre, when two competitors are fighting over their honor, over, oh my goodness, huge kick! Mojitos collapses on top of Jade. 1, 2! But Jade manages to get a shoulder up. Of course, folks, you may ask, people at home may ask, how these two competitors expect to resolve the differences by beating the hell out of each other. Folks, this is the lucha libre tradition. Life and death, honor and pain, legacy and struggle, it all comes to bear in and around the wrestling ring. These two will exorcise demons both literally and figuratively. And oh my goodness, Tiger Hammer on Mil Mojitos on the floor. His neck may be broken, folks. I believe that is it. And oh, Mil Mojitos gets a shoulder up. How did he do it? How is Mojitos still fighting? He was just dropped head and neck first on the mat using a Tiger Hammer on that hard, unforgiving surface. But Mojitos fires out with a bridging German suplex for 2. Somehow the fury of the gods that Mil Mojitos worships, their power is coursing through his veins. Mojitos with a kick follows up with a series of strikes. He is beating the hell out of Tiger Jade. But Jade with a double axe handle knocks Mojitos down. Will this be enough? 1, 2, and Mil Mojitos gets a shoulder up yet again. Folks, he's been fighting on intensity, but he cannot defy physics. How much damage can Mil Mojitos absorb? For every punch he lands, Tiger Gold is landing 2. and the tremendous power differential between these two men, it just states that Mil Mojitos cannot keep this up forever. Mojitos down and nearly unconscious on the ground after a tremendous flurry and a belly-to-belly suplex on the man of 1,000 drinks. Gold has him up, but Mojitos still fighting back. Facebreaker outside the ring. I don't know where Mojitos is getting this energy from. Gold with a kick to the gut sends Mojitos into the ring, and Mojitos is not looking good, folks. What is Tiger Jade going to try to do to finish this match, to end this flurry by this young man? And oh my goodness, Tiger Jade just slammed him from inside the ring to the floor onto the concrete outside. No regard for his safety at all. 1, 2, and 3. Folks, we may need some medical attention for Mil Mojitos out here. He was dropped spine first from a height of what must have been 10 to 12 feet in the air, straight onto the concrete below. And all that after eating belly-to-belly suplexes, tiger hammers, just tremendous slams onto that unforgiving surface. This was a brutal, short but brutal match here. And Tiger Jade has injured Mil Mojitos, folks. He is not moving outside the ring. And folks, we need to get some medical personnel out here. This was not a pretty end to this match. Goodness. Oh, this was bad, folks. And inside the ring, a remorseless Tiger Jade stalking back and forth in the ring, not even glancing in the direction of his fallen ally, his former friend, Mil Mojitos. Hopefully, for the sake of Mil Mojitos, this marks the end of this unfortunate rivalry. And ladies and gentlemen, we move on now to more action from our women's division as Peerless Victoria Prime, the undefeated Victoria Prime, takes on Alyssa Wilde. Of course, Victoria Prime has been very vocal about her dominance here in the women's division. She sees it as only a matter of time before she stands atop the division holding the crown of the INCW Championship. Of course, Anna Sokolov must be at least glancing in her direction at this point, as Victoria Prime has scored an impressive 6-0 since joining NWC. She has been an absolutely tremendous competitor, and of course we look for nothing but positive things coming from her as she continues her journey. But one person that stands in the way of that journey is Alyssa Wilde, the gatekeeper of the women's division. Someone who has achieved all there is to achieve in multiple organizations and has quickly established herself as a legend in the ring in NWC. Victoria Prime most definitely has her work cut out for her tonight. Now, what more can be said about Peerless Victoria Prime that she hasn't already said multiple times herself? Of course, Prime views herself as an upper-crust aristocrat, someone of noble blood, someone who is simply better by birthright, certainly has a lot of pride in the Union Jack and in her home, England, where she clearly maintains a bit of a superiority complex over what she considers to be the ruffians living here in the States. She and Brawler Beckett would get along pretty well, I would imagine, both of a like mind. But Victoria Prime, despite her attitude, she has shown that she can back it up in the ring. Between her submission hold parliamentary procedure, between her divine right, that deadly right hand, and all of the other maneuvers that she brings to bear in her matches, she has shown herself to be a tremendous competitor. Also in fantastic shape, amazing upper body musculature on this tremendous competitor. And going up against her, of course, Alyssa Wilde, someone who you could say a lot of the same things about. When Alyssa first joined INCW off of a very successful run in PWA, people thought that she would be quick to the top of the division. Since then, while she has had several standout feuds, she has not yet had a one-on-one match for the INCW Women's Championship, despite her tremendous win-loss record and her history. It'll be very interesting to see where this puts her, if she can knock off Victoria Prime, the undefeated one, tonight. Not really sure who has an advantage here. Both of these women are top-shelf, grade A competitors. Hopefully, we should see a tremendous match between these two. Russian leg sweep, or maybe British leg sweep, straight into a pin. One, only a 1 count. Victoria Prime immediately testing her mettle, or testing the mettle of her opponent here. Prime sends Alyssa Wilde to the corner, follows up with a big clothesline that takes the statuesque Alyssa Wilde down. Would you look at the physiques on both of these women? Just absolute tremendous physical condition. Not sure who has the power advantage here. Certainly the height advantage still must go to Alyssa Wilde, who tips the scales here, or the measuring stick at just about 6 feet tall. Goes for a pin there. But, of course, Victoria Prime, no small woman by any measure. Half and half. Wild Grecoplex to Victoria Prime. And the two continue the battle outside. Ripcord Fireman's Carry on Alyssa Wilde. Victoria Prime, an extremely talented, classically trained competitor, sends Wilde, just sends her careening across the ring and heads right back into the ring. Some mind games by Victoria Prime, letting her know that she doesn't need to fight her outside the ring. It is Alyssa Wilde's responsibility to beat her inside the ring. Very interesting perspective from the undefeated one. Alyssa sends Prime to the ropes, ducks underneath, ducks under a second time, and a big back elbow right to the jaw of peerless Victoria Prime. Knee drop to the back of the head, driving the nose of Prime straight into the mat. But Prime answers back with a Russian leg sweep, immediately targeting that bad leg, that braced knee of Alyssa Wilde. Prime managed to hit Alyssa from behind, right in the kidneys as she's doing a bit of premature celebrating. And look at that, Victoria Prime trying to fight the ire of the crowd, a very hostile crowd, not appreciating the history lesson that Victoria Prime is trying to administer to them about the glory of colonial Britain. Big pin and immediate strong kick out by Alyssa Wilde. Alyssa shoves Victoria Prime out of the way and snap Grecoplex on Victoria Prime right in the center of the ring. Alyssa going to town on Victoria, but sees a kick reversed, and look at that, a leg sweep for the second time. Victoria Prime targeting that braced knee of Alyssa Wilde. Half and half. Grecoplex on the floor, though, shows that Alyssa still has a tremendous amount of fight left in her. Full-time release Grecoplex on the floor. And a snap Grecoplex, just suplexing the heck out of Victoria Prime on that concrete below. Prime gingerly making her way back into the ring, though, only to eat an elbow from Alyssa Wilde. Victoria Prime in trouble here, but uses that strength of hers to drive Alyssa into the mat. And would you look at that, divine right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2... And Alyssa manages to get a shoulder up, relying on her strength and resilience. But look at this, Prime has her... Oh, it looks like she was going to be going for parliamentary procedure there, but Alyssa managed to fight her way out of it. And release German suplex on Alyssa Wilde, driving her head first right into that turnbuckle. At this point, I would say both of these women have sustained quite a bit of damage. Not sure who has the advantage. They're both just trading blows. Oh, Alyssa catches Victoria Prime's feet. What's she going to do? Shades of her brother Akira, sliding Greco-plex. Bounces Victoria Prime's skull off of that mat. And Victoria may be in trouble, folks. Alyssa leaning Victoria against the ropes and working on that leg, working on the limbs there. Alyssa has Victoria Prime up, and a short brain buster drives the Peerless One head and shoulders first onto the mat. But Prime, not willing to say die, flips Alyssa over in a short suplex and is measuring her. What's she going to do? And would you look at that, right in the center of the ring, goes for the pin. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that, sharp, quick, efficient, peerless Victoria Prime, victorious tonight, and remains undefeated. You have to wonder if the next stop on Victoria Prime's tour of destruction is going to go through Jasmine Blade. Jasmine Blade had some harsh words for Victoria Prime on our forum earlier, and after having defeated Alyssa Wilde, it sounds as if the path is set for those two to meet sooner rather than later. And folks, we have come now to one of our two featured bouts for this evening's action. We have our co-main event, Spencer Watts, the Blueprint, taking on one half the INCW Tag Team Champions, Tonk of the Diners Club. Ladies and gentlemen, these two have had a very interesting path. First meeting in the NWC #1 Contenders Tournament, where Spencer Watts won his match against Tonk, but not without controversy. A low blow involved in that match certainly laid the groundwork for some bad blood between these two, though since Spencer Watts was fighting a 200-pound weight advantage against a wrestler known for his underhanded tactics, perhaps that can be justified. However, Chonk definitely took offense at that and eventually made his feelings known as he cost Spencer Watts a match against the surgical specialist Akira Wilde due to his outside interference. Following that match, Spencer Watts demanded that Chonk meet him in the parking lot for a fight, a tremendous fight that ended with Spencer Watts getting knocked unconscious by Chonk. But Watts, never a man to leave well enough alone, a fighter through and through, someone who is determined always to fight as long as he has breath left in his body, has challenged Chonk to a match in the ring tonight. And this should be a very interesting encounter, as the only other time these two have fought in the confines of a wrestling ring, Spencer Watts was able to get one over on the big man, which is extremely impressive. Chonk has had a tremendous win-loss record. It has been very, very hard to contend with his girth, his size, his power. And as we saw, Chonk is on an absolute tear, having won the INCW Tag Team Championship, having not dropped a singles match in many, many months here in NWC, and certainly the Chonk that Spencer Watts is facing now is a more confident, more capable, more tested individual than he was when he faced Spencer Watts last season. And if the parking lot brawl that these two had a couple of weeks ago is any indication, Spencer Watts should be very, very wary of what's about to happen in this ring. But of course, things can be done in the confines of a wrestling ring that cannot be done in a parking garage. And Spencer Watts will be able to take full advantage of his entire moveset, his full arsenal. We'll have to see if that'll make a difference against this absolute gargantuan monster of a man. Watts, of course, giving up nearly 200 pounds to this huge individual. But Watts immediately taking it to Chonk, and look at that, choking him in the corner. Watts is absolutely incensed. He is furious. at what has occurred this season due to Chonk's interference and due to the actions that took place in that parking garage. However, Chonk would argue that Spencer Watts brought this all on himself, that Spencer Watts was the one who started this rivalry with a dirty attack. And Chonk has merely been retaliating. Where you stand on that probably has a lot to do with what you feel about the Diners Club in general. The Diners Club is a strange group of individuals that has its own unique code of conduct that often involves utilizing dirty and underhanded tactics to win matches. If you're on board with that, then you may feel that the Diners Club, that Chonk is justified in his feelings. But Spencer Watts, on the other hand, does not see it that way. He sees it as a man with a 200-pound and foot-and-a-half tall height advantage, a man who is not afraid to bite and claw and low blow his opponents whenever it sees fit. He sees everything that he did as a desperate attempt to try to balance an uneven scale. One single low blow it was a difference maker in their match. And certainly it puts these two in a morally ambiguous area. But regardless, you now see the result of that. Chonk with a big 2 count on Spencer Watts. Watts managing to hold his own, but is being a bit overwhelmed by the power at hand here. Jumping neckbreaker, following, of course, the most beautiful enziguri in the business. Flying senton out to Chonk, sends him just crashing into the big man outside the ring. Chonk, though, just huge amounts of power to spare. Clubbing blows and pump handle slam right to the floor outside. It's not going to take too many of those to put Spencer Watts under. I would not go toe-to-toe with Chonk if I were Watts. Chonk back in the ring, though, pacing himself well as Watts tries to collect himself outside the ring. Chonk breaks the count, and what's he going to do here? Has Watts, picks him up, but Watts manages to float over and chops the leg out from underneath the gigantic Chonk, and a big drop kick to the lower back as well. But Chonk very at home out there on the floor. Gorilla press. What's he going to do? Drops him into a power slam on the mat below. Spencer Watts in trouble out there. Spencer Watts sent face first into the barricade. And what is Chonk going to do out here? Just hammering from behind. And once again, a pump handle slam straight through the barricade. Spencer Watts has been sent crashing through that barricade. Oh my goodness. Watts is broken in half, folks. He's in huge trouble out here outside the ring. And Chonk just going wild on him. Fists over and over again. Gigantic arms just clubbing into the head and shoulders of Spencer Watts. Oh my goodness. But Watts and Chonk both able to avoid the 10 count outside the ring. And somehow, someway, Watts firing back. Big kick off the middle rope. And end game! End game submission right in the middle of the ring. How is Watts finding the strength, finding the reserve? But Chonk able to fight his way out. It's going to be difficult to hold Chonk down in that hold under any circumstances. Stomach crusher on Spencer Watts. And Watts, again, in tremendous trouble here. Oh my goodness, huge pounce! Just sent Watts about 9 feet straight in the air. And Watts thrown halfway across the ring, and all of Chonk's 400 pounds crushing the chest of Spencer Watts. Watts may be done, folks. But no, Watts firing back with a series of attacks. Gets thrown to the corner by Chonk, but Watts out of the way. Kick to the side of the head. Flying clothesline on Chonk. Goes for a pin. 1, 2. And Chonk with a forceful count, but still a count out at a long 2. Is Spencer getting to Chonk here? Sends Chonk to the corner, and a big kick sends the big man from the circus down, and Spencer Watts is measuring him. What's he going to do? What is he going to do? Endgame, second time, endgame submission hold. Chonk rolls through once again and attacks Watts from behind. Chonk sends Watts to the ropes. Oh my goodness, huge right hand. And he is measuring Spencer Watts. Picks him up. Gigantic gut buster. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all she wrote. 1, 2, and somehow, some way, Spencer Watts kicks out. Oh my goodness. I would have bet $100 that Watts was down for the 3 count after that one, ladies and gentlemen. Spencer Watts somehow still fighting for his life, grabbing onto that limb like a rabid pit bull. And Chonk rolling outside the ring, but what's Watts going to do? Watts! Huge moonsault inside the ring to out, and I believe Chonk may be unconscious. Watts drives a knee into the forehead of Chonk, and yes, folks, Chonk is spurting blood out of a wound on the top of his head. Oh my goodness. Spencer Watts is taking it to Chonk outside the ring. He cannot score a pinfall or a submission out there, but he can wear the big man down. I have no idea where the blueprint is pulling these reserves of energy from. Chonk just brutalizing him outside the ring. And a big-time power slam, reasserting his dominance. Chonk sends him back into the ring, and Watts cannot possibly have much left. Chonk just taunting him, showing him his size and his majesty. Just starts beating Watts into the ground, smashing him face first again and again into the canvas. And what is this? Standing on the top rope. Looks like he's going to... Oh. Watts, though, still firing back. Comes off the ropes. And, oh, gets cut off by Chonk. Whoa, but Watts ducks underneath. Eats a knee, though. And just like that, Watts has him again in the end game. He's got him in the end game. And Chonk has tapped out. Oh, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the damnedest match that I have seen in quite some time. Chonk beat Spencer Watts pillar to post, smashed him through a barricade, launched him 9 feet high in the air. But in the end, the tenacity, the rabid pit bull-like tenacity of Spencer Watts, he locked in that endgame hold for the 3rd time around the throat of Chonk, and he forced the big man to tap out. You know that's got to make Chonk furious. Chonk had this thing any way it could be had. But Spencer Watts has managed to gain a measure of revenge. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have our main event of the evening. I guess the second half of our co-main event. This has been many weeks in the making. It is a match for the PWA Light Heavyweight Championship. It is Chris Catch Knight taking on Lightning Derek Arzon. And of course, not only is this match for the PWA Light Heavyweight Championship, at the end of this match, the Light Heavyweight Championship and the INCW Openweight Championship will cease to be defended on NWC television and instead will be replaced with the NWC Light Heavyweight Championship. So the winner of tonight's contest between these two fantastic light heavyweights will be crowned the first ever NWC Light Heavyweight Champion. Now this match is going to be one heck of a contest. We have seen Chris Catch Knight do amazing things in the season since he debuted in NWC. This is a self-taught master of the ring arts, while he did spend a little bit of time at the Wild Wrestling Academy, he learned most of his skills in the School of Hard Knocks, traveling the world, honing his craft, becoming a technical wrestler with few peers. That has been on display ever since he arrived here in NWC. He won the #1 contendership for the Light Heavyweight Championship at full effect in a tremendous four-way dance. He defeated, alongside Danica Raven, defeated Reckless Love to become the PWA Tag Team Champion. He has had amazing matches every time that he has set foot in the ring, and it has all led to this. Chris Catch Knight will be taking on Lightning Derek Arzon of Forever Unchained one-on-one in what is certain to be an instant classic. I don't mean to oversell it, ladies and gentlemen, but when two light heavyweights of this caliber face each other in competition with gold on the line, magic can happen, and I have been looking forward to this match for many weeks. Chris Knight, all business here as he prepares to take on the greatest challenge of his career. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Lightning Derek Arzon heading to the ring, holding 2 championships that he has won and defended at great personal expense. The PWA Light Heavyweight Championship, the INCW Openweight Championship. He'll be walking to the ring holding these 2 belts for the last time. For it was decided by the NWC Championship Committee that these 2 belts will be replaced on NWC television by the official NWC Light Heavyweight Championship. A heavyweight championship that, or a light heavyweight championship that represents excellence across all the brands of NWC. Derek Arzon will go down in history as the last INCW Openweight champion, as potentially the last PWA Light Heavyweight champion, and he will potentially earn his way into calling himself the first ever NWC Light Heavyweight champion. That is, of course, unless Chris Catch Knight can overcome Derek Arzon this evening. And you'll notice Derek Arzon does not have the spoiler or Nicky Wilde by his side. There is no advantage from the faction of Forever Unchained. We're simply going to be seeing 2 competitors fighting with everything they have in them to earn the championship that could define both of their careers. Derek Arzon, for the last time, holds aloft the PWA Light Heavyweight Championship. Holds it high in the air, reminding the world of just what he achieved. And handing it off for the last time. The next time we see a Light Heavyweight Championship in this ring, it will have the NWC logo emblazoned across the front of it. Both of these competitors look absolutely ready. The referee rings the bell and we are underway. Immediately, Arzon takes Knight down with a leverage suplex, follows it up with a knee to the temple, and begins going to work on the arm, the left arm of Chris Knight. Of course, those that know that one of Derek Arzon's signature maneuvers is the arm blitz, a spinning arm bar that has taken down many opponents. That and the thunderstroke Uranagi. Chris Knight, though, he has the Knight's Gambit, and he has quite a few amazing moves at his disposal, including that beautiful belly-to-belly suplex. Derek Arzon, series of punches and kicks, but Knight managed to fire back with a monkey flip that sends Arzon into the corner. These two are very similar competitors, bringing a similar level of expertise to the ring, Arzon had that scouted, though. An attempted flying, flipping senton catches nothing but air. But a big capture suplex on the floor by Chris Knight shows that the catch-as-catch-can specialist is more than willing to do whatever it takes inside the ring or out to earn that championship. Of course, Derek Arzon is no stranger to dirty tactics. He, as the leader of Forever Unchained, has been a part of several vicious scenarios. But without his compatriots by his side tonight, he's going to have to use the skills that brought him to the dance in the first place. His tremendous technical abilities. Derek Arzon just going to town, stomping on Chris Knight. And just absolutely being vicious with those attacks to the arm, trying to soften up that limb, that left arm, for the arm blitz. Arzon with an attempted belly-to-belly, but Chris Knight with a heads-up leverage-based takedown. Excellent catch-as-catch-can work there by Chris Knight. And what's Knight doing here? Has Arzon up. Oh, he was going for the Dragon Slayer, folks, but Derek Arzon had it scouted and sent Knight careening across the ring. And look at that. Arzon going for some sort of a slam, but Knight manages to have it scouted and slams Arzon hard on the mat. German suplex. Manages to hold on, though. Second German suplex. Holding on for the trifecta. And Derek Arzon is in trouble, using the ropes to hold himself up as Chris Knight slowly pulls ahead in the lead. Starts hammering Arzon in the corner, but Arzon fires back. Floats over, double arm suplex throw, sends Knight across the ring. So far, these two are absolutely deadlocked even. Oh, look at that. Derek Arzon going for a clothesline, blocked. Tries to whip Arzon to the ropes, blocked. Kick to the stomach. Reversal after reversal. Hard stomp to the back of the shoulder by Derek Arzon. And again, continues working on those arms. And what's Arzon doing here? Just a hard knee to the side of the head. Both competitors down to the floor. This match can't be won out here, but certainly a huge amount of damage can be absorbed there on that concrete floor. Arzon and Knight just fighting tooth and nail. Knight, though, sends Arzon back into the ring. Series of punches and chops, and a high knee takes Lightning Derek Arzon down. And what's Chris Knight doing? Heading to the top rope. Flying headbutt, but he missed his mark. Arzon able to roll out just in time and drops him in the arm blitz. But a heads-up maneuver by Knight. He manages to grab that bottom rope before Arzon can get it locked in. Arzon comes back around. German suplex takes Knight down and follows up with a knee to the back of the head. Now Arzon going to the high rent district. Comes off the top rope, lands a crisp elbow right to the kidneys of Chris Knight. Goes for the pin. 1, 2, and Knight gets a shoulder up at the last second, showing that he's got fight left in him. Now, folks, I remind you, this is a championship match, which means that it is a 2 out of 3 falls match. A competitor will have to make his opponent submit or pin his opponent 2 times in order to achieve victory here this evening. Arzon, though, positioning Knight. What's he going to do? Knight, though, managing to crawl away, pull himself to his feet. Derek up on the middle rope. What's he doing here? Oh, and he's hanging that arm out to dry. Just trying to hyperextend that shoulder and elbow. Knight could be in trouble here. There could have been some tremendous damage. Oh, my goodness, though. Chris Knight, flying senton over the top rope, takes Arzon down. Leverage, throw, and an elbow drop. These two are matching each other move for move. Derek Arzon has Knight up over his shoulders. And what's he going to do? Sends him kidney first right into that barricade. And it back into the ring. Derek Arzon to the top turnbuckle for a second time. Comes off the top. Wow, gigantic flipping Japanese arm drag. Again, putting pressure on that arm and shoulder of Chris Knight. And arm blitz. This time he will not be able to reach the rope. He's trying to pull that arm taut, but Knight immediately able to pull his way out of it. Heads up, intelligent reversal by Knight. Managed to get out before Arzon could put on the pressure. Follows it up with a snap suplex. Arzon crawling for his life, trying to drag himself to his feet. Does not see Knight there as Knight collides into him, sends him face first into that turnbuckle, and begins going to work with a series of kicks on the back of Arzon's head. Grabs him by the neck, gator roll, left, right, and transitions smoothly into a crossface. Will Derek Arzon tap? Arzon manages to pull his way out, but Knight is measuring him. What's he going to do? Knight's Gambit! It's got him, and Derek Arzon manages to tangle his feet in the ropes. Absolutely tremendous work by both of these men as frustration bubbles over in Chris Knight, and he sends Derek Arzon stomach first right into those steps. Of course, turnabout is fair play after Derek Arzon slammed Knight spine and kidney first into that barricade. At this point, folks, these two are fighting for survival. And I'll remind you, folks, there has not been a pinfall dropped yet, not been a submission in this match. These two are matching each other hold for hold. We could be here for a long time tonight. John with an elbow to the head of Chris Knight, and just starts unloading with a series of kicks. Arzon measuring Knight. No, instead decided discretion is the better part of valor. Oh, going in to break that count. He wants to have more time on the outside here with his opponent. Oh, but look at this. Knight manages to peel Arzon's hands away, prevents that dragon suplex. But Derek fights his way back through. Huge double arm suplex on Chris Knight. And Arzon has him wrapped in a leg hold there, drops the elbow right to the crown of his head, and sends Knight flying across the ringside area. Arzon back in the ring, though. Is he going to try for a count-out victory? No, just breaking that count. Wants to continue punishing his opponent outside the ring. But Knight, though, fires back, and a flying forearm. This is the most intensity I've seen in any match in a long time, folks. Look at these two. They are absolutely leaving it all on the floor. And neither man has a discernible advantage. Chris Knight, kick to the stomach. What's he going to do outside the ring? Walking around with Arzon, drops him spine first, and then whips him around. Oh my goodness, Derek Arzon has been broken in half by the vicious attack of Chris Knight. Knight sends Arzon back into the ring. Is he going to try to find some sort of a pinning combination to take Arzon down? Arzon to his feet first, though. Series of attacks. Kick to the stomach. Super kick to the back of the head. Oh my goodness, huge flurry by Arzon. 1, 2, and 3. Derek Arzon has gotten the first fall with a unexpected dual super kick to Chris Knight. Arzon not letting up, though. Knight still definitely dazed. And Arzon with a thunder stroke going for a pin. Can he... Wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, Derek Arzon has his feet on the ropes. The ref didn't see it. Knight was struggling out. Knight was kicking his legs, but could not get his shoulders up because Arzon had him pinned with the ropes as leverage. Folks, Derek Arzon has stolen this match. Arzon had one surprise fall, managed to get a surprise thunderstroke, but you could see Chris Knight kicking his legs, trying to pull his way out, but Arzon holding him down by using the leverage of the second rope. Ladies and gentlemen, Arzon has stolen this victory from a dejected and angry Chris Knight. And look at that, Arzon knows what he did as he holds that new NWC Light Heavyweight Championship aloft. He does not give a damn what the people in the crowd think of him. Nothing but disdain for the people out there. Look at him, just daring them to doubt him, and bad-mouthing Chris Knight outside the ring. Folks, this is a disgrace. Derek Arzon is your champion, but at what cost? My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, what a tremendous main event. What a fantastic edition of NWC Tonight. We got to see some absolutely top-shelf in-ring action from all of our divisions, and I was proud to be able to bring that to you. For those of you that have been patient with NWC Tonight's spotty schedule over the past few weeks, I thank you, and I look forward to presenting you with NWC Tonight action on a more reliable, regular basis. It is 2024. It is a new year and a new era for the National Wrestling Council. I am Ronnie Stockholm, and I have been proud to bring you tonight's broadcast. Please join us again next week for more NWC action.